We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships.
This is the Couples Academy Show.
Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani. It is a pleasure to have each and every one of you with us here this morning. We want to know where you're dialing in from, so make sure you represent your city, your state, your country, so we know who you are and where you are calling from. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. That's right. We want you to help us grow this community so that marriages can be saved and transformed all around the world. Okay? Guys, I think you can hear me now. I think my mic was off. Can you turn my volume up just a little bit? Once again, like, share, and subscribe. We want the community to know that we are here and that we are in full effect this morning. We're continuing the conversation talking about the complaints that our wives have, right? These complaints that oftentimes are valid, that oftentimes some of our men ignore. Why, we don't know. But yet and still, here we are, we're ready to go. But before we get started, I just want to give a quick announcement. February 11th through the 13th, it's a last chance weekend. We want to make sure that you are in there because it's going to be an incredible weekend, particularly because it's Valentine's Day. And so we have just a few slots left. It is filling up. Make sure you reach out to us. You can set up a discovery call at just by going to the website, couplesacademy.org. But what we're going to do this morning is share the video with you for those who are just being introduced to our show for the first time. This is the last chance weekend, and we're going to come back with a powerful testimonial from this weekend. Be right back. That's right, guys. That's the last chance weekend. And this weekend, we had an amazing opportunity to service a number of couples. And so what I want to do is go to a testimonial that this is a powerful couple that came to a last chance weekend in, when was it? I think it was October, and came back. Not because there was anything wrong. They wanted a reboot. They wanted to take their relationship to the next level. They wanted to go to the next pitch, if you will, of their marriage. So let's hear what they have to say, and then we'll get into today's topic.
Hi, my name is Jewel Smith. I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania. This is my husband, Gonzalez. We came back to revisit the, what is it?
The reboot.
Yes, the reboot. It was amazing. The last time we were here, we were extremely broken. we were ready to call it quits. There was no hope for our marriage, not alone our friendship. And, during the intensive, we got the tools we were able to use. We worked the process. And as you see, we stand here today. All is well. God is good. We're not here because things broke down again. We're here just to keep building on what we've been building on. So we found our solution, and everything does not happen in one day, in 1 week, in 1 month. But if you keep going and going and doing the work and putting the time in, then this is what the outcome can be.
We want to thank God first, my wife, and Couples Academy for believing in us, helping us, and to empower us and impact us, to help us apply the tools and essentials that we need to rebuild, captivate our marriage, spice up our marriage, build on top of our marriage. God gives us new mercies daily. We take advantage of our mercies. We take advantage of the communication. We take advantage of where we was weak to continue to build and fortify our marriage. We're becoming more best friends. We know how to talk to each other, not talk at each other. The brokenness is being erased to build, to help people like you as being a witness for us that when you're broken, you can be fixed if you choose to. The key is if you choose to. Your choices determine your decisions determine your future. So we want to thank Couples Academy, the team, Sonny, Danielle, Jeff. Those are the cores that have poured into us, as well as the Couples Academy, period. But we want to thank God for them. And thank God for you to be impacted, not only by our testimony, but impacted by what God is using them to do to help you to move forward and to help your marriage be kindled, be lit, and set on fire.
That's right. That's right. That's why we're excited about the work that we do, because the impact that couples experience coming back because they want to take their relationship to the next level, that's what it's all about, guys. Listen, we're going to jump right into today's topic. We're talking about more complaints that unhappy wives get. Let me just say that generally speaking, wives don't say I do, or I should say, women don't say I do and become wives because they are unhappy. Typically, the beginning of the relationship is when they're most happy, when they're most fulfilled, when they're most satisfied. And then all of a sudden, things slowly begin to shift. Why? Is it because something's wrong with them? Is it because they just have issues? Could be. There's validity to that. Is it because possibly the things that have been revealed over time weren't obvious in the beginning, or we look past obvious things because we were so desirable in our efforts to become married and committed that we just bypassed and thought, well, we'll fix that later. We'll work on that later. But at some point, all of that patience goes out the window. I find that people are so patient and willing to deal with things before they're married, but once they get married, they're like, bump this. I can't take this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And then all of the complaints come out, and a lot of these complaints are valid. We went through a number of them on yesterday, and we're going to continue in our conversation today. This was an article that I found online, and it was talking about the top 20 things that women complain about. So let's go to the list. It was number 12 we're on. He snores. Now, I will say a lot of men snore. It speaks to a health issue that needs to be corrected. And I think we were talking about this the other day, that generally speaking, women really prioritize their health and their self-care and making sure that they're taken care of at a much higher rate than men do. Now, interestingly, statistics would suggest married men live longer and are more healthier than single men, and that is because they have a woman who's by his side, ensuring that he does something in regards to his health. Whereas single men who don't have that typically they don't last as long or they're not as healthy. And so you have just up-leveled your life simply because you said I do. And so when she's complaining about your snoring, it's not just the fact that you just snore, it speaks to a deeper issue that requires you getting the help that you need. But when it comes to doctors, a lot of men just don't like going to the doctor. They don't like being bothered. Maybe they fear the news that they will hear, and so they rather just deal with it, they rather suppress it, they rather just move on. But what happens is, it's just like driving a car. You ever drive a car and you see that light pop up on your dashboard and you're like, well, the car's driving pretty fine, I'll deal with it later. And the more you delay and the more you delay and the more you procrastinate, then it becomes a bigger issue. And so while it may have only taken maybe $100 or so to fix a minor issue, now you're dealing with a major issue that will cost thousands and thousands of dollars because you did not engage in proper maintenance and handle the issue when it first appeared. And so oftentimes when it comes to our health, we as men do the same thing. And what could have been a quick fix, because we've delayed and procrastinated and justified and rationalized why we don't have to go, and it's just a little pain and there's no big deal, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're hit with the reality. Things are far worse than where they were before. And so I would encourage everyone here, you need to get regular checkups. You need to take care of your health, because think about this. If you live a long life, but you are unhealthy, it has a financial toll, number one, but it also has a relational toll. You can't show up in your marriage the way you once would. And so now I've seen many scenarios, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with it, where the wife becomes the caretaker of the husband. That's the new dynamic. And so the life they had, the love, the passion, the intensity, the level of energy, the willingness to get up and go and do and travel, all of that changes now because she's now taking care of her life partner. And so that puts an undue stress and weight and responsibility on her. And so, for your own physical health, you should be your best self. But for the benefit of your marriage and family, you should be your best self. So even though we're talking about snoring, I think it speaks to a larger issue that we really need to take time to unpack, particularly between you and your spouse. All right, let's go to the next one. He gives me the silent treatment when he is mad. Now, this is a huge one. Now, this may be more personality based, but if many women are complaining about this, there's got to be some validity to it. Now, what I will say is, generally speaking, this is not always the case. Women tend to speak a lot more than men. It's been said that women speak in paragraphs, men speak in bullet points. In general, men typically speak about 10,000 words a day. Women speak about 25,000 words a day. But when there is an issue to be discussed, oftentimes, generally speaking, it is the woman, it is the wife that takes the lead on the conversation. And as long as she continues to talk, he will sit back and let her. And then when it's time for him to engage, he's shut down, he's quiet, he has nothing to say, and so he says nothing. And this is a part of the silent treatment. Or if he's fueling internally, and maybe he feels like he doesn't have a voice, he can't get a word in, everything he says is wrong, he's made to be demonized for every thought that he thinks and every step that he takes, it can shut him down. So when he doesn't know what to do, guess what he does? Nothing. When he doesn't know what to say, because no matter what I say, somehow I'm always wrong, guess what he says? Nothing. And so the silent treatment begins. And so while there may be some responsibility on his part for shutting down, right, and building a thick wall up and not wanting to deal with it and wanting to sweep the issues under the carpet and just hope that it goes away, also the wife, you may be a contributing factor to the shutdown. And so it would be your responsibility to create a safe environment to allow him to speak. Don't punish him for telling his truth or sharing his perspective. Don't demonize him. Don't reward him with bad behavior. And so the relational dynamic and the way that couples communicate can lead to the shutdown. So if he struggles to communicate to begin with, you certainly don't want to make it harder for him to communicate by threats and accusations and finger pointing. And we can go on and on and on and on and on. But I will tell you as men, one of the things that you need to learn how to do is to communicate, because many of you either had no example or a bad example of what communication looks like by possibly looking at your fathers, your brothers, whatever male influence you had in your life. Now, many years ago, it has been always said, and I've heard this from countless people, that, you know what, my father didn't really speak, but when he did, everybody listened. So generally, he was a quiet man, didn't really have too much to say, went along with things. But when he spoke, everybody listened. Is that to imply when he spoke with anger? He spoke with fire and intensity? What does that really imply? What was the example that was laid out before you in terms of what communication looks like from a masculine figure in the home? Was it a healthy lesson? Was it a negative lesson? We want to hear from you. Comment in the chat. We want to hear about this, because I think this is an interesting topic. Listen, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We will be right back after this quick announcement.
If you're a man and you have a pulse, then you need to join this program. You're a husband, you're a father, you're a leader. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have to be everything for everyone, but do you know who and how to be for you? You're still in search of your own significance. You're in internal battle with your own vices. You're questioning, do I even know what it means to be a man? I know I'm supposed to be there for others, but what about me? The fact is, you need a model. You need a code to live by, a system of principles to govern your life. You need an internal compass to guide your every decision. You need the 4 securities to build your own kingdom. What you need is the Foundry. In short, a foundry is a facility where castings are produced by melting metal, pouring liquid metal into a mold, and then allowing it to solidify. Well, this is where we're testing the metal of men. Foundry is a 12-week men's-only coaching program. It is a brotherhood that will take each man through a purification process of the heart, mind, and soul. We here at Couples Academy promise you that if you give us 12 weeks of your life, you will no longer recognize it. If you care about the improving of your life, your marriage, and your family, register today.
All right, guys, we're back. This is the Couples Academy show. Thank you for tuning in to Ayana and Derek and Tiana and Fedelina, Ralph, LaShawn, Torre, Carrie, Gorgeous Wells, Kathy in the building, Gonzalez, Dee Jones, LaShawn, Marissa, good to see you. All of you are tuning in. Daniel, Jackie, the list goes on and on. Lisa, glad to have you with us. And for all of you who you're not really active, but you're there. You may not be live, but you're watching a replay. We appreciate you. Continue to loop in, continue to watch, continue to share. Let me just tell you, we have over 600 videos on YouTube. Many of them are in playlists, so you can watch a series where we go deep into a particular topic, and I think that would generally help you in your situation. Jackie has a comment. She says, do you have March dates yet for the Last Chance weekend? We have not released those dates as of yet. They will be coming. We're focusing at this moment on February so that we can fill that up and have the best experience that we can. Lisa says, and I'm reading these in real time, folks. So when I engage in convo with my husband, I'm the one who eventually shuts down after some time because he gets very defensive. I don't want to say anything else to avoid an argument. Okay, much respect, I get that. So you're the one who shuts down. Now, this is not a communication conversation. There may be a natural defensiveness that he has irregardless of how you show up, or maybe he feels like I've got to defend myself, protect myself, because he feels as if he's being attacked. And so, there's a dance between couples in terms of how they engage. And so typically we have no problem identifying the struggles, the weaknesses, and the deficiencies in our spouse's communication, and we think that we're the best communicators when that may not be the case. Or if you are the best, you're certainly not the best with your partner. And so there's an approach that you take. There's an approach that you can take that can help you remove his defensiveness. One of the greatest books, and we talk about this all the time, is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It is a phenomenal book. It's not a marriage book. It's not necessarily a communication book, but it is a book that has become an international bestseller that's been used in the military, used in business, used in ministry, and used for personal growth and development. And from beginning to end, that entire book talks about how to win friends, even if it's your spouse, how to influence people, how to engage. So there are communication skills, there are interpersonal relationship skills that they unpack, and there's a way that you could remove somebody's fence or their wall or their disposition of being defensive by particular techniques that are spelled out in that book. It is one of the best books. It's in my top 10. It's just brilliant. So I would encourage you and whomever else to get it, because it can make a difference in terms of the treatment. Jaguar says, did I read this? The silent treatment is my dad, 100%. My mom is constantly nagging, there we go, my dad, and pointing out every flaw, and then plays the victim when he lashes out. When he gets fed up, he shuts down for days. Once again, relational pattern. There's a relational communication dynamic between the two that influences, contributes to people's behavior. Now, here's the thing. We say this all the time. He probably was a person who shut down prior to him marrying your wife. She probably was a nagger prior to her marrying your husband. But when all of these issues come out in a relationship, boom, this is the impact. So, pressure that you receive from your partner forces out of you what is already in you. And this is why we talk about you got to focus on becoming the best version of yourself so it impacts your relationship in a powerful way. Ralph says, my father would gripe about everything done wrong and would not give praise to anybody in the house, but would praise others outside the home. Yeah. That's very true. There are people who have a tendency to do that the more intimate and the closer the relationship is, for whatever reason, there's a struggle for them to articulate what they do in their mind, acknowledge. A lot of times they're complimenting their spouse, their children in their mind, but for some reason, they don't want to say it. Because if I tell them it, there's all types of thoughts. There's all types of just rationale behind why people do what they do. It's not like they're oblivious. It's not like they don't see. It's not like they don't know. But it's safer for them or more comfortable for them to give praise and accolade to a stranger than the person who lives in their home. So these are some of the challenges that we have that oftentimes creates the frustration in the wife that makes her unhappy. Let's go to the next one. Man, I tell you, I struggle with this. I have struggled with this. He's gone all the time. And we talk about this. Danielle and I were just part of a major production on yesterday, actually over the last weekend. We'll tell you about it in some time. But one of the challenges that we faced in the marriage is that I was gone all the time. I was traveling, I was speaking for colleges and churches and conferences and, doing seminars, and I was on the road. And so that left an impact on Danielle and the kids because I wasn't physically present. And then when things began to shift and change and I was local, I was still gone, right? So if I was gone in my office, the office could have been a couple miles down the road. The office could have been in the home, but I'm gone out of the presence of, because everyone's in the living room or the family room or in the backyard enjoying themselves, and I'm off to work and I'm doing things. Now this is a challenge because every woman loves a hard-working man, but I don't know a single woman who loves a workaholic. And some of us are driven to work. Some of us are required to work to be able to pay the bills and maintain a lifestyle. And so if that is the case, the question is, what can we do to course correct this? Because I didn't get married to be separate from you. And that was something that I had to finally get a hold of and start blocking out time and prioritizing time and investing my time when I was with my family. Because you could be physically present, but still not mentally and emotionally present because your mind is somewhere else, your heart is somewhere else, and automatically they know that you've tuned out. And so this is not an uncommon issue. Many wives are complaining about it. You know, it's a tension to be managed, because within us, within our wiring, is the need to provide, is the need to make sure that a lifestyle is maintained, that, you know. And so if you have a dream or a purpose or something that you're working with, it requires you being sacrificial and taking out the time to do things. But taking out time for that can potentially rob you of the time within your home. So it's a legitimate complaint, and men, it's important that we think through this and talk and walk through this with our spouse so that we can come up with something that's mutually beneficial for both parties involved. All right, you're watching the Couples Academy Show. We'll be right back. Stay right there.
To the wives struggling to move forward, I know that you're hurt, filled with doubt, fear, anger, and resentment. I know you're trying to be your best self throughout this recovery process, all while still having to be mom, daughter, sister, friend, and so much more. I know it feels impossible to be there for everyone else when at times your journey feels so isolated and alone. I know that more than once a day, you scream on the inside, I can't take this anymore. I know there are days when you feel like you want to give up and run away. I know you spend too much time sitting in your car parked in the driveway to get your head right so that you can keep moving. I know this feels like a lot of work with no guarantees. And I know you wonder, what happened to me? Who am I? And why am I here? More than you'd like to admit. I know all of this because I once felt the way you do too. It may not be evident by looking around, because we all wear our masks, but you're not the only one who feels like you'll never get back to you. That's why I've launched Unearthed. Unearthed is a 12-week group coaching program focused on discovering the woman within. Just as the earth hides all kinds of precious stones waiting to be found, buried within every woman are the seeds of wisdom, strength, purpose, and passion waiting to be brought to the light. Unearthed will take you through a spiritual, emotional, and physical excavation process that will reveal to you who God designed you to be and guide you through a process to embrace and activate your true identity. When you complete this journey, you'll have a new focus aligned with your core values so that you can begin to feel your life again and discover that your gifts aren't buried, but planted and waiting to be unearthed. Register today.
Producer. All right, we're back, guys. We're back. We're talking about more complaints of unhappy wives. We actually have a few comments we want to go to, but we actually have somebody from Instagram who made a comment. What did she say?
Yvette Lee says, sometimes my husband looks mad and it irritates him when I ask him, are you mad?
So she's looking at her husband. He appears to be mad. And when she asks about what she's observing, he's mad. So once again, we're dealing with a communication issue. Maybe he's not talking. I was just talking to a client the other day. He feels some type of way, and then when the wife begins to probe and ask, well, why? What it is that you're feeling? I don't want to talk about it. I don't feel like talking about it. Maybe we could talk about it another time. I'm not in the mood. I don't want it to affect the energy. And it's just like, well, you put this thing out there. You gave me the impression that something's wrong, and then when I want to unpack it, you don't want to do it. This is why problems creep up in a variety of different areas, because of our unwillingness to effectively communicate. So we got a couple other comments. Jackie says, we need to encourage couple groups like Couples Academy because good marriages can run in packs. Start today making your marriage better by investing in your marriage. Reach out to your future happiness. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Another question, Zach says, tonight on Ask the Experts, can you please offer exercises to rebuild trust and intimacy? We just passed the 1 year mark since she had an affair, making good progress, but still need work. Zach, I appreciate you reaching out. As for those that do not know, every evening we have Ask the Experts, and that is when people can come on and ask specific questions about their situation, and we will do our best to answer them. So make sure you tune in. It's every night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday. All right, let's go back. We got a couple more before we end the show. Here's another one. He feels like I can never do anything right. Yeah, this was me, folks. We talk about the verbal assassin. It has many characteristics and attributes to it. For me, it was criticism. It was being judgmental. It was always looking with like a microscope into what you're doing and why'd you do it like that, and why couldn't you do it like this? And the problem with you is, and what you need to do is, and I would do that in private. I would do that in public. It would kill her spirit. It built a wall up. It kept this huge wedge and gap between us. She didn't want to deal with me. I didn't want to deal with her. We were frustrated. And that is a complaint that many spouses have. Like, I can't do nothing right. Like, outside of you, everybody like me, everybody compliment me, but you can't form your lips to say nothing positive about me. It's always negative. Well, what you marry me for? You know, what you say I do for? You didn't notice before we got married? Oh, so now that we married, it all starts coming out. And so oftentimes there may be some validity to what your spouse is saying. However, they also may be looking through a lens of criticism, a lens of judgment, right? And so when they take that lens off, they may see something very different. And so it's important that we look at our situations from the right perspective in order to be able to have a healthy relationship. The next thing is he micromanages the budget. This is a form, of control. When things have to be done your way and you don't trust your spouse in terms of how they manage or spend or save or invest or make decisions regarding money, it becomes a problem for you. So you're going to micromanage everything. And so what happens is it's claustrophobic. It makes the spouse feel trapped. It actually makes them feel like they're a child and they don't have a thought and they don't have any intellect and they can't make a basic decision about things because everything has to be controlled and manipulated by you. That creates a lot of unhappiness in a spouse. Truly, truly, truly. And so if that is the situation, you have to have a different approach. You have to have a different mindset regarding the finances. And a lot of times when financial issues creep up in the relationship, it's because there's an unhealthy relationship that we often have with money, and it manifests and projects itself in the actual relationship. And we're going to go to the last one for today. He's afraid of my feelings. So every time I talk and want to share something, he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to be bothered. He doesn't want to engage in the conversation. He gets really quiet. He's one-wordy. He's off-put by how I feel. And here's the deal, guys. For many of us as men, we don't emotionally connect with ourselves. We haven't learned as men to live from the inside out, where the heart and mind is, and experience life through that perspective. We're taught to live life from the outside in. So that's why we're very physical in nature and we experience it in an external way and don't go deep enough. And so if we've never been taught to tap into our own emotions, how can we show compassion, have empathy, and emotionally connect with another person if we haven't done that with ourselves? And we fear the emotions and the feelings of our spouse because we don't even understand our own feelings and emotions. As men, we're taught to express hard emotions of rage and frustration, and I'm pissed and I'm mad and this is how I deal with things. But soft emotions like sadness, things of that nature, that it doesn't compute, because if I express that, I'm not a man. So it's a shot to our manhood, manliness, masculinity, and it's a false sense of masculinity, which has negatively impacted our relationships. And so this is why we're offering the Foundry 12-week men's program to get men back on track. And this is why we're offering Unearthed, that 12-week program for women to help them through to get from a place of unhappiness to happiness to fulfillment. So listen, guys, not a week goes by, not a show goes by where somebody says, is there a phone number I can call? How do we reach out to you? How do we start counseling? How do we sign up for the program? And the lower 1/3 constantly show it. The links in the description constantly show it. All you have to do is click on it. Listen, we got a few more slots. We start tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is not too late to sign up. Guys, I hope you got something out of today's message. Hope it was helpful. We will see you tomorrow for another great episode. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let the community know that we are here, and we will see you in the AM. Take care, guys. Love you.